Okay, I'm going to share some of my final handy household tips so we can save our hands for playing the piano. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Behind my music studio is the laundry room. Now notice that this big bottle of laundry detergent almost did in my wrist over the summer. It is 141 fluid ounces. So in order to pour it on the laundry, you got to lift it one-handed. Ouch. This is what I learned. Get smaller bottles of laundry detergent and use those. It'll put a lot less pressure on that one-handed hoist and pour. Some of my musician friends have gotten in trouble trying to unscrew a jar of pasta sauce or a jar of salsa. And so here's some tips for the kitchen. You can either take this jar and hit it upside down on a hard surface to loosen it up, or run it under hot water, or you could have a tool like this handy jar opener, and that might work too.
Or, here, dear, let me manhandle this marinara for you.
It's always wise, if you need to lift a large pan that's full of food or water, to use both hands. And if you need to transfer it into another dish, you can use a spatula or a spoon, or get a person to help you hold the pan while you scrape. Likewise, if you are making like batter, cake batter, muffin mix or something like this, and you want to scrape it into muffin tins, I don't advise holding while your hands are a little bit sore with one hand like this and scraping a full dish of food, but instead you can use a scooper like this to transfer it into your muffin tins or whatever you need to do. This tray of ice cubes almost got me in bad trouble last summer when I was twisting them to get a nice refreshing drink, and I really injured my thumb. I recommend that if you're twisting something like this, let the ice cubes melt a little bit so they come out easier, or run the backs under some hot water. I'd like to introduce you to my personal trainer, Melody, who's going to talk with you about some common yoga and Pilates positions that can be modified to benefit musicians' hands.
Hi everybody. The first potentially stressful position we're going to talk about is the high plank, like so. Now, if you're going to be going into this position, make sure to spread your fingers wide and press down through the pads of the hands, thereby dispersing the weight that you're placing on your hands and wrists. Now, you may still find that this is simply too much for your wrists and hands, that the degree of extension is placing excess stress on your wrists. We want to avoid any problems here, so I would recommend coming into a forearm plank instead. In that position, you have very minimal, if any, pressure onto the wrists and the fingers. Next, let's talk about a cat-cow stretch. Again, that's putting your wrists into quite a deep degree of extension there. Many clients who are musicians find that it's helpful to come into the knuckles. That way you're getting the same range of motion without bending the wrist backwards. However, for some people the knuckles position is problematic, so you really need to find what works for you and feels more comfortable for your hands. I found a great way to work around this problem with the help of a pillow. I recommend grabbing a pillow that's pretty thick and pretty firm so that you're very supported. we're going to place your forearms onto the pillow, and that's going to elevate the ground for you so that you can still get a good degree of motion in the cat-cow stretch. And last, we'll talk about a downward dog. In the traditional downward dog, you are getting that wrist extension like so. Let's talk about a way that you can work around that. The downward dog is a great stretch for opening up your spine and the backs of your legs. However, it can put excess pressure on your hands and wrists. To modify, let's come over to a raised surface, such as this bed. There you can see I'm still getting that nice stretch in the backs of the legs, opening up the spine, but I'm putting much less weight onto my hands and wrists.
Can you do the downward dog? Yes, good girl. Any musician who does repetitive work with their hands and then perhaps also goes and lifts a bunch of heavy gear to the gig could be susceptible to wrist pain. But now I'm going to speak directly to pianists and show you some things that I learned. The first time I developed carpal tunnel syndrome and tendonitis was in my master's degree, working on this entire book of Chopin preludes. Now, if you notice that prelude number 7 is pretty easy. You may not get in trouble if you forget to warm up before that, but notice prelude number 8. Notice the rapid inner notes of the right hand. They're like almost grace notes. They go by so fast. And the jagged work of the left hand here. This one started to give me some physical pain. Here's the final number of Chopin's collection of 24 preludes. It's a very powerful piece. Notice the breaking up of the left hand 10th, and then up, it leaps up a 12th. This is like non-stop through the whole prelude here. It gets very loud, very fast. There's some fancy stuff in the right hand too, and because it is quick and it's making jagged leaps in the left hand, and there's all these fast, powerful, loud things to do, this one you need to warm up very well first. It's also important, I feel, for pianists who are going to be playing anything physically demanding, such as stride piano or broken tenths or boogie woogie, using repetitive patterns, that you warm up carefully. Let's look in my book, The Aspiring Jazz Pianist, and on page 59 you see a few boogie woogie ideas, which are also continued on the next page. Now I want to point out that most of these you really should warm up before you try, okay? And if I could just give a little addendum to this one, the shuffle, if you are to play that, you want to spring up lightly in your hand. But after about 4 times through that pattern, number 5, the shuffle, can be rather taxing on the hands. So I'm going to show you a little variation that I didn't include in the book. And this is going a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. For me, and every pianist is different, but the easiest boogie woogie physically on my hand is number 2. However, it goes fast, and what I say is you bounce along the notes and cross over with your index finger like this. All right, have fun making music. Be sure to warm up before you do anything hard. Take care of those precious hands, everybody. And also, please look at my pain-free piano videos. Number 1, proper body alignment. And number 2, some warm-up exercises to do before you do anything like this boogie woogie.